The movie begins by showing a young man named Stray, who will fight in a street fight event in an area around the city harbor. With Stray's physical agility and fighting skills, Stray can defeat his opponent even though the opponent he faces has a much stronger and bigger body than him. As a result, Stray managed to win the betting money from the bookie who organized the fight even though the money Stray got from the street fight was little. Shortly after the fight ended, someone approached Stray and offered him a job with much higher pay. The man told Stray to go to a nightclub and meet a woman named Estelle to get the job. Later that evening, Stray meets a woman who is a mafia boss named Estelle at a nightclub managed by her. While Stray was waiting for Estelle's arrival, Stray met a beautiful woman named Alexis, one of the club's entertainers. Stray immediately fell in love with Alexis' beauty and charm and decided to get to know her better. Shortly after Stray chatted and drank with Alexis, one of Estelle's men called Stray and asked him to go to Estelle's room. Estelle had known about Stray's street fighting track record all along and wanted to offer him a job that suited his skills. Estelle asked Stray to work as a debt collector to collect debts from thugs or gangsters who owed Estelle a lot of money. Stray was allowed to beat up the thugs until they handed over their money, but if the thugs refused to settle their debts, they could execute them on the spot. Estelle offered Stray quite a lot of money, so Stray decided to accept the job offer considering that the money he earned from street fighting was very little. On Stray's first job, Stray will be accompanied by a man named Kuda, who has been Estelle's accomplice in debt collection. Not much different from Stray, Kuda also has extraordinary fighting skills and has managed to kill many mafia members by himself. Kuda was just released from prison a few days ago after he was involved in a case of violence against a group of mobsters. Stray immediately approached Kuda, who was waiting for Stray in a car parked in front of Estelle's club. After Stray got into the car, Kuda immediately drove to where they would meet the man who owed Estelle and collect the man's debt. On the way to the destination, Stray asked about the work they were going to do and where they were going this time, but Kuda did not give any answers and continued to focus on driving his car. When they arrived at their destination, Kuda told Stray to meet a man named Ronnie and collect a gambling debt of $10,000. Kuda warned Stray to always be careful with Ronnie because Ronnie was known as a very violent boxer and he would not hesitate to kill anyone who got into trouble with him. After listening to Kuda's explanation, Stray got out of Kuda's car and approached Ronnie, pretending to borrow a lighter from Ronnie. But when Ronnie was about to hand over his lighter, Ronnie immediately realized that Stray was Estelle's man, so he immediately attacked Stray with several punches. Fortunately, Stray was able to fight Ronnie and was even able to turn the situation around until Ronnie was badly injured. Moments after the fight between Stray and Ronnie ended, Kuda approached them and took Ronnie to a bridge on the edge of a lake in the middle of the city. Kuda then ordered Stray to take Ronnie out of the car and dragged Ronnie to the lake's edge. When Ronnie woke up from his unconscious, he was shocked to find out that Kuda had been released from prison when he thought that Kuda would be in prison for a long time. Ronnie tried to beg Kuda to forgive him and asked for more time to collect Estelle's money. But Kuda knew it was all a lie because Ronnie never intended to return the money, so he shot Ronnie right in the head until Ronnie died and fell into the lake. After Kuda executed Ronnie, Kuda invited Stray to a golf course and a club to that Kuda had subscribed. At first, Stray was confused about why Kuda suddenly invited him to a place like that. Then Kuda explained that he invited Stray to that place as an alibi if one day they were interrogated by the police regarding Ronnie's death. After completing their mission, Kuda gave Stray some money as payment for Stray's work that night and then asked Stray to leave the place immediately. The next morning, Kuda went to a high school to pick up his daughter Lala, given that Kuda had been separated from Lala since he was in prison for the past few months. Kuda wanted to invite his daughter to have lunch with Lala's favorite menu, but Lala refused and said that the school bus that picked her up was waiting. Apparently, the relationship between Kuda and Lala was not very good since Kuda chose to take a high-risk criminal job and often left Lala. The next day when Kuda was relaxing and drinking coffee at a cafe, Kuda accidentally saw a teenage girl arguing with an accessories dealer. The girl, whose name was Billy, was caught stealing an item from the shop and a fight broke out between them. Kuda, who didn't want the girl to get involved with the police, decided to help her pay for the item the girl had taken. After reconciling with the shopkeeper, Kuda took Billy away and started chatting with her for a while. Billy explained that she was a 16-year-old girl and that she had recently escaped from an orphanage. Later that evening, while Kuda was having dinner with Billy, Kuda asked where Billy's parents were, and Billy said they had died a few years ago. Billy explained that her mother died while she was working as a prostitute in a nightclub, while Billy had never met her father since she was a baby. Hearing this, Kuda decided to help Billy get a place to stay for a few days and gave her some money until Billy found another place to stay. On the other hand, Stray, who has been in love with Alexis, comes back to see her and invites her to have dinner while talking to each other. After they finish their dinner, Stray and Alexis decide to go to a swimming pool to spend time together while looking at the stars. The atmosphere becomes more romantic, and the two stare at each other before they kiss passionately and sleep together all night. A few days before Lala's 16th birthday, Kuda came to his ex-wife Olivia's house to meet Lala and invite her to go out together. However, Olivia forbade Kuda from meeting Lala because she did not want Kuda to influence Lala negatively. After Kuda left Olivia's art gallery, Kuda was approached by Stray, who happened to be looking for Kuda to ask him for a new job because he still hadn't found another job. Unfortunately, Kuda refused Stray's request and asked him to find another harmless job instead of dealing with mafia members or police officers. But when Kuda was about to drive his car, Kuda's car suddenly broke down, and Stray took the initiative to help Kuda fix the car. As a favor to Stray, Kuda decided to give Stray a new job in the next few days. At night, while Billy was reading a magazine while listening to music at the inn, a man who claimed to be a cleaning service suddenly came to Billy's room. But it turned out that the man was a kidnapper from a human trafficking network who wanted to take Billy away from the place by force. Billy screamed for help and fought back, causing chaos in the room, but the kidnapper still managed to take Billy away from the place. The next morning, Kuda came to Billy's inn to give her some food and check on her. However, when he arrived at Billy's room, Kuda didn't find Billy anywhere and only found a very messy room. Feeling worried about Billy's safety, Kuda immediately searched for Billy's locations at various points around the city until nighttime. Unfortunately, even though Kuda had been looking for various places for hours, Kuda still failed to find Billy, and it made Kuda even more suspicious that something bad had happened to Billy. The next day, Kuda picks up Stray, who had just finished a street fight for some cash. In the car, Kuda told Stray about Billy, whom he met a few days ago, and revealed that Billy had disappeared one night. Kuda then asks Stray for help in finding Billy's whereabouts because he believes that a dangerous kidnapping syndicate has kidnapped Billy. Later that evening, Kuda and Stray went on a debt collection mission given to them by Estelle. They came to a restaurant in the city center to collect a debt from the restaurant owner. But when the restaurant owner was about to give Kuda some money, Kuda saw a money clip that he had previously given to Billy. Kuda immediately threatened and interrogated the restaurant owner to tell him who had given him the money clip. Although the restaurant owner initially tried to deny that the money clip belonged to him, he eventually confessed that he had gotten the money clip from a motel employee in South Miami. After getting the bill and information about the motel employee, Kuda and Stray left the restaurant and rushed to find the motel employee who had kidnapped Billy. When Kuda found out that Stray was in a relationship with Alexis, Kuda warned Stray to be careful because Alexis was one of the comfort girls working with Estelle. If Stray made trouble with Alexis, then Stray would have to deal with Estelle, who could get rid of Stray whenever she wanted. Kuda also advises Stray to go to another city and start a new life with Alexis if he loves her to avoid dangerous people like Estelle. Afterward, Kuda and Stray went to see Estelle hand over the bill they had gotten from the restaurant owner. Estelle seems to be satisfied and happy with the performance shown by Stray over the past few days. Estelle then gave Stray and Kuda a new mission to collect the considerable debt from a mafia boss named Freddy. Freddy is known to be the boss of a human trafficking network that prostitutes young girls and profits from them through adult live stream platforms. Since Kuda still had to locate Billy, Kuda asked Stray to carry out this task alone while he would follow if Stray needed help. Later that evening, Kuda came to a South Miami motel to meet the clerk after having previously found Billy's money clip. Kuda immediately pointed a gun at the hotel clerk and threatened to tell him where Billy was. After Kuda fired several shots, the motel clerk confessed that he was just an intermediary and that the real kidnapper was Freddy. The motel employee also informed that Freddy sold or prostituted many young girls in an empty factory in the middle of the city. After getting this information, Kuda immediately shoots the man died because the man was also involved in the kidnapping case that happened to Billy and the other girls.
I have nothing to do with it. You have everything to do with it.
Kuda immediately went to the location mentioned by the motel employee. It turned out that the Freddy referred to by the motel employee was the same man Stray would charge on Estelle's orders. They decided to go to the location together to get the money for Estelle and look for Billy's location. When they arrive at Freddy's place, they see many young girls being forced into prostitution or exploited through live streaming on adult video platforms. Unfortunately, when Kuda looked around, he still couldn't find Billy anywhere until finally, he and Stray met up with Freddy in the meeting room. Kuda pretended to be Stray's bodyguard who would collect the loan from Freddy, and Kuda also used the opportunity to check the number of security guards in the place. The situation became more complicated as it turned out that Freddy was not a collectible person, and there was almost a fight. In the middle of the negotiation, Kuda accidentally saw Billy, who a man was forcibly taking into a room because Billy continued to resist. However, Kuda chose to wait and return at the next opportunity because too many mafia members were in the room. After Kuda and Stray got the money for Estelle, they left the place to hand over the money to Estelle. When they arrived at the car park, Kuda said that Freddy was the one who had kidnapped Billy even though Billy was still underage. Kuda decided to go back inside to find out how the girls were employed at the place, while Stray chose to return home to Estelle. Before seeing Estelle, Stray stops by the nightclub where Alexis works to have fun. Shortly afterward, Kuda comes to Estelle and protests Freddy's illegal business. Still, Estelle says that she has known about the business for a long time but has allowed it because Freddy's business is the most profitable. At the same time, Stray and Alexis arrive at Estelle's office to hand over the money Freddy collected yesterday to Estelle. After receiving the money, Estelle ordered her men to kill Kuda because she felt they were no longer in line to run the business. Estelle's bodyguard beat Kuda repeatedly until Kuda was battered and badly injured. After Kuda lay weak, Estelle asked Stray to shoot Kuda in the head, and she would give him a large sum of money as payment. However, Stray did not want to betray the person who had helped and guided him, so Stray preferred to attack Estelle's bodyguard even though, in the end, the bodyguard also defeated Stray. Fortunately, when Estelle's bodyguard was about to execute Stray and Kuda, Alexis came with a gun and immediately opened fire on the bodyguard and Estelle until both were killed. Kuda then ordered Stray and Alexis to take Estelle's money to the city border, while Kuda followed them after he rescued Billy. Later that night, Kuda came to Freddy's place and started attacking Freddy's men one by one. After defeating Freddy's men, Kuda immediately released a girl who was being locked up and asked her to release the other girls. But because Kuda still couldn't find Billy, Kuda tried to find her in Freddy's room, and finally, he found her in that place. Unfortunately, shortly after Kuda entered Freddy's room, Freddy, who had been waiting for Kuda's arrival, immediately opened fire on Kuda from behind. When Freddy is about to kill Kuda, Billy, who has been released from her rope, immediately rushes to shoot Freddy and save Kuda. But strangely, after Billy killed Freddy, Billy pointed a gun at Kuda because she thinks that Kuda was also involved in the kidnapping plan. Kuda tried to explain that he didn't know anything about the kidnapping network, and he also didn't know Freddy at all. Kuda also assured Billy that he had risked his life by coming to that place alone to save her and other girls who Freddy's gang had kidnapped. Hearing this explanation, Billy abandoned her intention to kill Kuda and immediately helped the injured Kuda stand up before they finally escaped. After that, Kuda and Billy went to the city border to meet Stray and Alexis, who were waiting for them both there. Kuda then told Stray and Alexis to go to another city and start a new life with the money they had earned together with Billy. Kuda hopes that Stray and Alexis can start a more normal life and not get involved with dangerous people while continuing to protect Billy like their own sister. The next day when Lala came home from school, she was surprised by the appearance of the new car that Kuda had just bought for Lala's 16th birthday. On the car's windshield, Kuda has also left a message saying that he loves Lala forever while including a photo of Lala as a baby. At the movie's end, Kuda, whose shots Freddy fired had badly wounded him, chooses to accept his fate while looking at the sunset on the beach. The moral that can be learned from this movie is that what kind of life you will live in the future will depend on the decisions or choices you make in the present, so make sure you make your decisions wisely or you will suffer the consequences in the future.